My name is Rebecca Foster, CEO of Foster Communications. 5 years ago, my mother-in-law Janet's anonymous complaint destroyed my career at her friend's company. Today, after her husband's bankruptcy, she's job hunting, and her application just landed on my desk. Seeing Janet's resume brings back memories I'd rather leave buried. Back then, I was the youngest director of marketing at Maxwell Communications, climbing the corporate ladder with innovative campaigns that caught even CEO Richard Maxwell's attention. My husband Tom and I had just moved into our dream home. Life was perfect. Almost. Mom's just protective, Tom used to say when I complained about Janet's subtle digs. Protective? That was putting it kindly. From the moment we met, Janet made it clear I wasn't the wife she envisioned for her precious son. A small-town girl from Ohio. How quaint, she said during our first meeting, her tone as frosty as her smile. Marketing go? Not exactly a stable career. Her disdain didn't stop me from excelling. My ideas were game changers, and Richard himself once said, "Rebecca, keep this up and you'll be running your own division by 30. Janet wasn't thrilled to hear of my success. At a family dinner, when Tom proudly shared my promotion, she asked with feigned innocence, "Maxwell Communications? Isn't that Caroline Maxwell's company? Such a shame about their security issues lately." I missed the warning signs. 2 weeks later, Richard summoned me to his office. His warmth was replaced by cold professionalism. "Rebecca, we've received troubling reports," he said, sliding a folder across the desk. "Anonymous tips about data breaches and leaked client information, emails from your account, meetings with competitors." My blood ran cold. "This is a mistake," I protested. "Those emails are forged." But the decision was made. By that afternoon, I was escorted out of the building, my career in shambles. The whispers began immediately. "Rebecca Foster, corporate espionage. No one will touch her." At the emergency family dinner Janet hosted that night, she cooed, "Oh, darling, perhaps this is a blessing. Tom's doing so well at his father's firm. Maybe it's time to focus on being a proper wife." Tom squeezed my hand under the table. "We'll figure this out, babe," he whispered. But when I caught Janet's smirk, I knew. It took 2 weeks and a lot of digging. But I finally found the proof: emails, falsified logs, all traced to Janet's IP address. When I confronted her, she didn't even flinch. "You were a liability," she said over tea. "Tom deserves a wife who puts family first." I did what any loving mother would do. That night, I made a choice. I sold every designer bag Janet had ever gifted me, rented a tiny office, and launched Foster Communications with nothing but my laptop and a burning drive to succeed. Tom supported me even when I worked 18-hour days. But Janet's poison lingered. "Mom says we should think about starting a family soon," he'd say hesitantly. I ignored her shadow and threw myself into my work. Client by client, success by success, I rebuilt my reputation. Within 3 years, Foster Communications had gone national. "Rebecca Foster is transforming digital marketing," the headline said. Meanwhile, Janet's world was crumbling. Her husband's risky investments imploded, their mansion was seized, and their assets frozen. The socialite who once dismissed me as small town was now scrambling for survival. And here I am, sitting in my corner office, staring at her application. My assistant, Claire, is barely hiding her shock. "Mrs. Janet Foster specifically asked this be sent to you," she says. She's applying for the executive assistant position. I lean back in my chair, memories swirling. "Schedule her for an interview," I say. Claire blinks. "Are you sure?" I glance at the nameplate on my desk. "Rebecca Foster, CEO." A slow smile spreads across my face. "Absolutely. After all, family should help family." The look on Janet's face tomorrow morning will be worth every painful memory. The next morning, Janet arrived 10 minutes early, a shadow of her once polished self. Her designer wardrobe had been replaced by a modest department store suit, and her signature diamond jewelry was conspicuously absent. Through my office window, I watched her sit nervously in the reception area, clutching a leather portfolio, probably the last relic of her former luxury. "Mrs. Foster is here for her 9 a.m. interview," Claire announced, a trace of a smirk playing on her lips. "Let's not keep her waiting," I replied, straightening the folders on my desk. When Janet walked in, her face fell. Clearly, she hadn't expected to face me directly. Perhaps she'd hoped for a quiet favor handled discreetly through HR. Rebecca, she faltered before regaining composure. Thank you for considering my application. I gestured to the chair across from my desk. Please sit. Let's discuss your qualifications. For the next 20 minutes, I dissected her resume. It was a study in inadequacy. College dropout, no real work experience, and skills gleaned from charity board positions she bought her way into. Your resume is interesting, I said, mimicking the patronizing tone she used on me years ago. Not exactly what we usually look for. I know I lack traditional experience, Janet replied, her voice faltering, but I have excellent organizational skills and I'm a quick learner. Like how quickly you learn to forge emails and fabricate evidence? My words cut through the room like a blade. Her face paled. That was, I never meant to destroy my career, to brand me a corporate spy, to control your son's life. She dropped her gaze, her voice a whisper. We were different people then. Things have changed. I leaned forward, my voice cold. Yes, they have. You're broke. Your friends have abandoned you. Your husband is facing federal charges. And now you're sitting in my office, asking for help. Tears glistened in her eyes. I know I don't deserve it, but I have nowhere else to turn. Nobody will hire me. The scandal. Everyone knows. How does it feel? I asked quietly. To have your reputation ruined overnight? To have doors slam in your face? To be untouchable? I'm sorry, she breathed. I was wrong. So terribly wrong. I picked up her application and studied it for a long moment. The position pays $35,000 a year. Standard hours are 8 to 5, with overtime as needed. No special treatment, no family privileges. You'll report directly to Claire, and one misstep, one hint of interference in my business or my marriage, and you're out. Clear? Janet nodded quickly, a flicker of hope lighting her expression. One more thing, I said, pulling out a document from my drawer. This is a notarized confession of what you did at Maxwell Communications. Sign it. Her hands trembled as she took the paper. But, insurance, I said coolly, to prevent any future misunderstandings. After a brief hesitation, she signed, her pride crumbling as she handed it back. You start Monday, I said, standing. Claire will handle your onboarding. Don't be late. As she left, Claire peeked her head into my office. Everything okay? I smiled, tapping the signed confession. Perfect. Sometimes karma needs a little help. That evening, Tom found me in my home office, staring at old wedding photos. Mom told me about the interview, he said, his tone cautious, and about Maxwell Communications. Why didn't you tell me before? I met his gaze. Would you have believed me? His silence spoke volumes. She starts Monday, I said, turning back to my work. Tom let out a low whistle, half laughing. Mom answering phones and fetching coffee. Dad's under investigation, their accounts are frozen, and now this. It's like watching an empire crumble. I thought about the confession in my safe, about Janet's face as she signed it. No, I corrected him, it's like watching a new one rise. But I underestimated her. Janet wasn't done fighting yet, and her first day would bring challenges I never saw coming. Monday morning arrived with an unexpected sight. Janet was already at her desk at 7:45 a.m., attentively listening as Claire walked her through the scheduling system. Gone were the designer suits and extravagant accessories. In their place, she wore modest business attire. Even her meticulously manicured nails had been trimmed to practicality. Your 9 a.m. with Digital Dynamics called to reschedule. She informed me with professional ease as I walked past. I moved them to Thursday based on your availability. I paused, momentarily taken aback. Was this another manipulation, another ploy? But as days turned into weeks, Janet proved herself startlingly capable. She was organized, efficient, and most surprisingly humble. Then came the Maxwell Communications incident. I was deep in a board meeting when Janet buzzed through. I'm sorry to interrupt, but Richard Maxwell is here. He's demanding to see you. The name sent a jolt through me. 5 years had passed, and now he wanted to show up. Send him in, I said, dismissing the room. Richard Maxwell entered, a shadow of the confident CEO I remembered. He looked worn and uneasy. Janet followed him into the office, her notepad and pen at the ready. Rebecca, he began hesitantly, we need to talk about. Actually, I interrupted. Anything you have to say can be noted by my secretary. I gestured toward her. You remember Janet Foster, don't you? His eyes widened as recognition dawned. Janet? But? How? Life has a funny way of rearranging things, I said smoothly. Now, what brings you here? He shifted uncomfortably, clearly off balance. We're losing market share. Your digital strategies are dominating the space. Our board wants to discuss a potential merger. I let out a sharp laugh. A merger? The same company that branded me a corporate spy now wants to partner. Richard hesitated, his gaze dropping. About that, Caroline admitted recently that she may have acted on incorrect information. Janet's pen stopped mid-scribble. Her hands trembled just slightly. Mrs. Foster, I said formally, please read back what Mr. Maxwell just stated. Her voice was steady, but barely. Mr. Maxwell indicated that his wife, Caroline, knowingly provided false information that led to your termination. Thank you, I said, my smile cold. Now, Mr. Maxwell, as for this merger you're proposing, the answer is no. However, Foster Communications might entertain discussions about an acquisition. At a reasonable price, of course, given Maxwell Communications' current challenges. Richard left shortly after, visibly shaken. Janet lingered in the doorway. I should have stopped her, she said quietly, staring at the floor. When Caroline told me what she planned to do, I should have said no. But I thought I was protecting my son from a mistake. You thought you were protecting him from me, I replied evenly. And instead, you nearly destroyed someone who built everything she has on her own. She met my gaze, tears welling in her eyes. I'm sorry. I know that's not enough, but I am. 2 months later, we closed the Maxwell acquisition. That same day, Janet handed me her resignation. I've learned what I needed to, she said. Humility, respect, the value of hard work. But we both know this arrangement can't last forever. I studied the letter in my hands. Where will you go? Tom's father is being sentenced soon. Someone needs to rebuild what's left of the family business, the right way this time. No shortcuts, no schemes. I hesitated. The secretary position might be ending, but I could use a compliance officer, someone who understands firsthand how damaging corporate manipulation can be. The pay is better, but the expectations are higher. Her eyes filled with tears. Why would you do this for me? Because 5 years ago, you showed me who you were. Now you're showing me who you can become. And because family should help family on the right terms. That evening, I shredded Janet's confession. Not because I fully trusted her, but because holding onto it meant holding onto the past. Later, Tom found me in my office. Mom told me about the new role, he said. Are you sure this is the right move? I handed him the acquisition papers, Maxwell Communications, now under the Foster Communications banner. 5 years ago, she orchestrated my downfall. Today, I own that company and I'm giving her a chance to rise. The difference is, I'm doing it with grace. Tom smiled. You're incredible, you know that? And hey, speaking of family, remember our conversation about starting one? I touched my stomach, grinning. Already ahead of you, 2 months along. When we told Janet the news, her happiness was genuine. No games, no control, just the joy of a future grandmother. As she hugged me, whispering her congratulations, I realized something profound. The best victories aren't about destroying enemies, but transforming them into allies. Janet may never become the mother-in-law I envisioned, but she was becoming someone I could respect, a woman who grew from her mistakes. The baby will need a lot of things, Janet said hesitantly. Maybe we could go shopping together, if he'd like. I thought about how far we'd come. I'd like that, I replied, but let's skip the luxury boutiques this time. We both laughed, and for the first time, it felt real. Life isn't about getting even, it's about moving forward. Janet taught me that in her own roundabout way. And as I watched her tackle her new role with determination, I realized the most unexpected ending is sometimes the one you create together.